This man saw an elephant standing alone in the middle of the road. It wasn't just crying by itself, its behavior seemed incredibly strange. He quickly rushed to call for help, and when the reserve guards arrived, they were shocked to discover the real reason behind its odd actions. Mason was a veterinarian specializing in heart conditions in animals, working at a large wildlife reserve. Since childhood, Mason had a deep love for animals and dedicated himself to doing everything he could to help them. He was passionate about his job, which allowed him to spend long hours with a diverse array of wild creatures. He followed a simple daily routine, starting his mornings by examining the animals to check for any changes or developments in their health. Sometimes these changes brought good news, like finding an animal recovering from an illness, while other times they signaled something troubling, such as detecting a serious heart problem. Despite what people often told him, that all living creatures naturally loved him, Mason never left anything to chance, always taking every necessary precaution during his work. After finishing his routine checkups, he loved to spend time exploring on his own within the reserve. During one of his outings, he discovered a secluded hilltop in his designated area, which became his favorite retreat in his free time, where he could enjoy the breathtaking natural scenery that brought him peace. One day, Mason completed his rounds early and couldn't wait to visit his special spot. But as he drove there, he spotted an elephant in the distance, standing alone, completely still. Mason was used to approaching animals, but not when they were isolated from their herd. Feeling cautious, the observant vet decided it was best not to get too close, so he parked his vehicle and waited, wondering why the elephant was standing there alone. He guessed it might have separated from its group and was waiting for them to return. Patiently, Mason watched from inside his car, pondering the possible reasons. Minutes turned into an hour as he contemplated the truth, and suddenly he noticed something unusual. The elephant hadn't moved at all. It wasn't flapping its ears or swishing its tail. An oddity, since elephants typically wave their tails to shoo away flies or twitch their ears in response to sounds. But this elephant stood frozen like a statue. Exhausted, Mason considered heading home and abandoning his routine, but something about the elephant's stillness captivated him, so he kept watching instead of leaving. Fortunately, he stayed because after closer observation, Mason realized the elephant was in distress. Unable to pinpoint the issue from afar, he decided to approach carefully to investigate. Fully aware of the risks, he moved forward slowly, driving his vehicle quietly to avoid startling the animal. The elephant raised its head when it heard the car door close, and Mason froze, unsure of how the massive creature would react. When the elephant didn't move, Mason stood still until it seemed to lose interest and looked away. Returning to his car, Mason waited a moment before approaching the elephant again, this time carrying binoculars that allowed him to see closely without too much risk. What he saw took him by surprise. Even from a distance, through the binoculars, he could see the elephant crying as if pleading for help. Mason quickly called the medical support team, explaining what he'd observed. Gratitude washed over him for trusting his instincts, and he urged himself to help the elephant as fast as possible. Overcoming his fear, he edged closer slowly. The elephant didn't react, simply staring at him with sad eyes that reflected deep pain. Mason was deeply moved as he gazed into the elephant's suffering-filled eyes. Unsure of what to do exactly, he sat a few meters away and began speaking to it in a calm, soothing tone. He knew the elephant wouldn't understand the words, but his experience with animals had taught him they could often sense emotions and intentions through the tone of voice. Sure enough, he noticed the elephant's body gradually relax, so he continued talking to comfort it while they awaited help. After about 30 minutes of waiting, Mason finally saw 2 vehicles approaching, filled with medical staff. Relief flooded him, knowing the elephant would soon receive treatment. He stood and walked toward them, explaining what he'd seen and showing them the cause. When they saw it, they were stunned too. The elephant was suffering from a large abscess on its hindquarters, and Mason could only imagine the agony it had endured. The medical team sprang into action immediately, sedating the massive elephant. But due to its immense weight, 3 tons, they couldn't transport it to the clinic. Just before it drifted off, the elephant did something astonishing. As it lay on the ground under the sedative's effects, it gently wrapped its trunk around Mason's leg. Touched by this gesture, Mason began patting its head softly as it slept. In that moment, the medical team worked swiftly, draining the abscess, injecting medication, and applying a soothing topical treatment. They moved with care, knowing the elephant could wake at any moment and lash out in fear. Once they completed the medical intervention, Mason noticed the elephant starting to ease from its pain. The team hurried back to their vehicles a few meters away and watched as the elephant rose slowly, trying to regain its balance. They grew anxious for a few minutes when it didn't move or make a sound, but then it began swishing its tail slowly, signaling to the team that they'd succeeded. They all cheered in joy and decided to return the next day to continue its treatment. But as they prepared to start their vehicles, something unexpected happened. The massive elephant approached them slowly. Everyone tensed, but it passed the medical team's vehicles and headed straight for Mason's. When it reached his window, it extended its trunk and wrapped it around him in a gesture that felt like gratitude for his help. This moment left the entire team in awe, bringing tears to their eyes, especially Mason's. After a few seconds, the elephant stepped back calmly, leaving everyone staring in wonder and gratitude for this rare experience. What do you think of Mason's brave actions? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell to catch our videos as soon as they drop. See you in the next one.